The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation, make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels, operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, South Lane Fire, Oregon, on your new fire apparatus, job number 30558. Please utilize this job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment or Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting on the face of the bumper on the passenger side, there is an electronic siren. Moving to the right or driver's side, there are dual air horns. Moving up onto the bumper, there is an 1.5-inch swivel discharge port. Moving just inside of that location, there is a covered tubbed storage for hose storage. And in the center, there is an additional covered tubbed hose storage. Moving to the driver's side, there is a mechanical siren located on top of the bumper. Up onto the body on the right and left side, there are two marker turn indicators. On the headlight cluster, the outer light being the low beam and the in light being the high beam. Moving up onto the top, you have a left and right turn. Moving just inside of that cluster, you'll find an emergency warning light. There are 3 windshield wipers across your seamless windshield. Just to the outside on both right and left, you have a flat and convex mirror controlled from within inside the cab. On the top of the brow, there are 5 running lights. Located directly in the center, there is a fixed forward-facing floodlight. Moving up onto the top of the apparatus is your emergency light bar. Moving just to the center of the light bar, within the light bar, is your Opticom. Generalized view of your left turn indicator and right turn indicator. Let's go ahead and move up to the very top of the apparatus. Once again, center mounted fixed floodlight, and inside that light bar you can see just peeking out at the very top is your center mounted Opticom. Down into the lower section of your front bumper, you'll find, when this is open, tubbed storage here for hose. Moving to the passenger side, your swivel 1.5-inch diameter discharge port. Moving down to the driver's side, a view of the air horns and mechanical siren. Just on the side of each bumper, right and left, there is an emergency warning light. These are your dual air horns on the driver's side, and your electronic siren located on the passenger side. Let's go ahead and take a look under the bumper. You'll find 2 closed framed tow hooks in the front of the apparatus. Here is a view of the front section of your mirror, and on the other side, on the lower section, is the convex portion and the upper flat. Generalized view of the side of your apparatus, starting with the marker light in the front. You have locking door locks that are keyed on all 4 front cab doors. In addition, with grab handles on all entry points. Located in the red section here, this is a auto eject shore power, and to the right of that is your auto eject air chuck. Moving up to the very top, you'll find a side-facing flood on both the right and left side, and also on the right and left side you'll find a visual tank level indicator. This is your 20 amp shoreline inlet and your auto eject air plug. Let's go ahead and move now just off of the cab to the rest of the body. Located in this compartment is a through compartment in the diamond plated area. Behind this cover, you'll find your backboard storage location, an additional hose location for 2 hoses. The arrow is indicating the warning level for entanglement due to hose. This is going to be your first crosslay, which is the number 1 crosslay in yellow, and your number 2 crosslay. You'll find in the middle this lever. The lever depresses. When it's lifted in the up position, it will depress the intersection, allowing those storage containers that hold hose to be able to be pulled out for hose loading. Both crosslay 1 and 2 are foam capable. This is the lever that lifts to the upward position to release the 2 ABS plastic hose containers. In the left-hand side of your pump panel, you'll find a light. Moving just inside of that, this is your large diameter intake. At the very bottom, you'll find 3 drains across the bottom and then 1 slightly up from that location. This is your number 1 discharge. Moving down from that location is your number 2 discharge. You can see that all discharges on this side are 2.5 inch in diameter, and they are also color coded. This is a warning label regarding the use of looking into a nozzle stream. And at the very bottom, I mentioned this is the number 1 drain valve. On the right hand side, this is your draft foam tank inlet. Down at the very bottom, this is a 2.5 inch driver's side auxiliary inlet, and beneath that was the drain for that. On the back of your apparatus, you have an emergency warning light. There is also one mid-cab. There is a marker light just in front of the rear tire or turn indicator. And at the very top of your apparatus, there is a side-facing floodlight. Let's go ahead and take a look inside some of the compartments here, and we'll detail some of the components within inside. Let's first start with this compartment in your pump panel. At the very top, this is your pump information for 150, 200, and 250. We'll detail information in this gray area where the large gauges are. We'll talk a little bit about some of your discharges as the levers move across. We'll talk about your foam system located in red. We'll also talk about some of the information regarding your throttle control and pressure modes. We'll talk about the levers in the lower left corner here. We'll talk about your Acron electric valves. And we'll talk about the section in the lower section of your pump panel here where the drains are. In the upper section, right side of this compartment, you'll find an adjustable shelf and a pull-out shelf located on the bottom. Let's talk about some of the components on the side of the apparatus here in this compartment. This is your front flood. This is a driver's side scene light and a passenger side scene light located underneath that. There are also 3 additional locations for adding additional switches in this area. Let's go ahead and move up to the top. This is going to be your Pierce Manufacturing maintenance schedule. This gives information on 150, 200, and 250 psi, the associated GPM and RPM. This is a warning label indicating to read the owner manual prior to utilizing your apparatus. At the very top, this is your pump engaged. This light will illuminate if your pump is properly engaged. Down at the very bottom, this is your Tank Pro for Foam A, indicates the level of foam. Master intake to the right. Moving just to the right of that location, you'll find your master discharge. Moving down in the same gray area here, this is your test ports for vacuum and pressure for your annual tests. Moving up to the very right corner, this is an amber light for your PCM fault. And just beneath that, the black round circular item, this is an audible alarm. And by turning this audible alarm right to left, you can dampen the sound. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the gauges as we move across the bottom neck section. We'll start on the left-hand side. You'll see that these are all discharge ports. They are all color-coded by purple, yellow, and white. They also contain the availability to flow water and foam. They are locking valves. Let's move up to the next Husky system here. This is your foam system. We'll detail that in the next set of images. Moving to the right is your primer for your fire pump. Moving to the right of that location, this is going to be also a foam water discharge. That was your 2.5. Moving to the right hand side, this is your Pierce Manufacturing throttle and pressure control. And this is your intake relief valve, which gives you pressure and the ability to increase or decrease. Down at the very bottom, these are instructions on your Husky foam system. Let's start up here with the Husky foam system with your system on-off switch in green. Moving down from that location, this is where you'll display your percentage of foam. To increase or decrease, you'll use the gray buttons here. If you choose to increase and decrease those, just subsequently push the buttons slowly to increase or decrease. That's a prime button, and there's a 3-light system here indicating green, red, and yellow with information above on what those indicate. This is your fire pump. It's best if you enhance the priming performance by increasing the throttle to 1000. This is your intake relief valve and gauge. Moving to the right, this is your Pierce information. This is the governor and throttle control. The initial one was your check engine light if that comes on. Shown in the red section here are the RPMs. There is to the right of that a stop engine light, which is red. There are 5 information regarding your pump, regarding the oil pressure, engine pressure, fuel level, and water temp. Just beneath that, this is an indicator gauge for your water tank. There's also in red a silence to silence the audible alarm. Moving down from that location, you would use this button to scroll through the menu. Down to the next section, you'll find a pressure control light indicating you're in pressure control. You'll have a digital readout in the center here. And as you move to the right, you'll see the RPM or throttle control. This will illuminate if you're in that mode. To change the modes of control, you'll push this blue button. There is also, if you choose to push a preset or set up a preset ahead of time, that's what this button would be utilized for. And prior to turning the throttle, you want to make sure that this light is illuminated, indicating throttle ready. Then this is the bottom throttle control, moves right to increase, left to decrease, and push the red to push to idle. Looking on the set of valves here, you're going to find this is your tank fill and recirculating line. Next over from there is your tank to pump. These are both locking valves. And as we move to the very far right side, this will be your deluge, discharge, or master stream at the top of the apparatus. There are also 2 Acron electronic valves here, discharge number 3, and also large diameter. Let's go ahead and move down to the next section down. You're going to find your primer drain. This is not a push or pull, this is a turn. You'll also find some information as we talk in the next set about what's behind this access panel next. But let's talk first at your number 1 cross-lay drain, number 2 cross-lay, your 2.5-inch manifold drain, and also your foam drain. These are all drains located at the very bottom. We'll next now move to the cover plate or access door. You'll find this yellow valve. This lever is the valve handle for horizontal foam operations. To fill, move the handle vertically. After you're done, restore it to its normal position. In red, this is your automatic shift override behind the red switch with a yellow indicator light. To access any of the roll-out compartment doors or shelves, depress the lever on the right-hand side, which will allow the drawer to then move outward. Press that also to return it to its normal position. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what's behind these compartments in the next set of images. This is for bottle storage, in addition with bottle storage straps for safety and securing of those bottles. There are 2 SCBA storage locations in that compartment. This is an emergency warning light just over the rear section of the tire. In this long compartment here, this is the fill for your fuels. At the very top of this compartment, when this door is open, you'll see the flap is covering the DEF tank, allowing you to fill diesel fuel in the lower silver cap. When you pull down the flap, you'll indicate that the blue is for your DEF. It is a 4.5 US gallon DEF tank. Let's go ahead and look at the very side compartment here. In this compartment, when the door is in the rolled up position, you'll find a fixed adjustable shelf. Just underneath the very rear compartment, you'll find the storage location for your 2 folding wheel chocks. Just up from this location, we'll access this next large roll-up section door. Once this door has been opened, you'll find in this compartment there are 2 adjustable shelves that are currently fixed positioned, and at the very bottom you'll find a pull-out shelf. Also in this compartment is a Shore outlet, which is a 15 amp Shore power line. Same mechanism for pulling this shelf out. Depress the lever and repeat the steps to restore. Let's go ahead and move to the top of the apparatus. You'll find a reflective light that is a running light here. Just beneath that, you'll find a side-facing flood and an emergency warning light. General view of the rear of the apparatus. We'll break down these components next. Let's start at the lower left-hand corner with your reverse light. Moving up, you have a turn indicator in yellow, and moving to the very top, your red, which is your brake lights. Moving down from that location, you will find 2, one pointing 90 degrees down and one angling in. These are step lights. Moving up from that location, an emergency warning light. Let's go ahead and move up from this location. This is your license plate location for affixing the license plate and illumination for your license plate. Up from there, this is going to be a rear-facing floodlight. Moving just in of this location, we have 2 storage locations. We'll talk about what's behind these compartments next. Let's go ahead and start with the very top compartment. When this door is opened, you'll find that you have long pole storage in this area, in addition with a 10-foot attic or folding ladder. Moving down into this compartment, you'll find this is the storage for your ladders. Your compartment houses a 24-foot extension ladder, in addition with a 14-foot roof ladder. We'll now move to the center of the apparatus. In the very center, you'll find there are warning labels in this area regarding personnel riding on apparatus and entanglement warning labels. There are also 3 running lights in the very back, and just up from that, this is your rear-facing reverse camera. Generalized view of the rear section of your apparatus. We'll talk next about these compartments here. When that compartment is open, it creates a step with a roll-up door inside and also a shelf inside. You can see that this is capable of a shelf for holding personnel while standing on it to reach up into the upper compartment. Let's talk a little bit about your ladder, but before then, let's talk about the rear light scenes. This is the switch that controls that, also from the cab, and a warning label regarding standing in this area while the apparatus is moving. Once again, same configuration on the other side. You have 2 work lights and an emergency warning light. Same concept here with your brake, turn, and reverse light. Let's talk a little bit about ladder controls. On each side of your ladder, this will pull it away from the actual apparatus. This will allow the lower section of the ladder to extend down. Be cautious, this is a pinch hazard. The ladder is in its fully deployed position, which now you can allow access to the very top. When you're at the top, this is what you'll find in your hose bed. This is a compartment. Inside that compartment are two 10-foot hard or rigid suction hoses. You also have movable center dividers for your hose. And you can see at the very top there was a large diameter or 2.5 pre-connect discharge. On the top of your hose bed cover, this is a diamond plate hose bed cover. It has the yellow indicators for safety. In the midsection here, this is your water tank, which is not latched. Moving to the right is your foam tank fill for A foam. This is a latched compartment. There are also two work lights located at the very top of this, rear facing. As we look to the center of your apparatus, this is the location for your large diameter or deluge. Let's go ahead and look at the side of your apparatus. On the passenger side, there are two emergency lights located in this spot and a side-facing floodlight. Let's go ahead and take a look under the rear section of your apparatus. You have two perimeter lights located back here, one on the right and one on the left. We'll go ahead and now look into the rear section of these compartments on the passenger side. Similar type layout. At the very bottom there is a pull-out shelf. That is the access lever to allow it to move. And then just above that there are two fixed adjustable shelves above from this location. Same concept on this side. These are bottle storage locations. In this compartment there are three possible bottle storages in addition with safety straps. Moving mid location over the rear tire, this is that emergency light just above the rear tire, and looking just to the front of that you'll find additional bottle storage here. As we look inside this compartment, you'll see an additional 3 bottle storage here with the safety straps. Let's now look up above the wheel of the rear tire and we'll look at this compartment. When this compartment is open, you'll find a tool board here. This tool board is adjustable from front to back, or I should say in to out. It pulls in the outright position so you can access tools from forward and behind of this board. When it's in the full open position, it will lock with this pin. To restore it, lift the pin and restore it back. Let's now take a look at this compartment. This is a large compartment in the front section. Just underneath this compartment is where you'll find the out for your exhaust and also a warning label regarding that exhaust is hot. Your top compartment or top shelf is a pull out, pull down. In the upper corner you'll find a 15 amp Shoreline outlet. This is displayed now in its currently tilted position for accessing tools or equipment. Same configuration on the opposite side, driver's side, as it is on the passenger side. You have a pass-through compartment at the very top. Moving down, you'll have this compartment where the cover is located. This is what stores your crosslays. And also accessible board storage on the first open section here of the diamond plate. Let's go ahead and look just lower of this section to the pump area section. First, you'll find your cab lift. There are instructions on how to lift the cab in the next set of images. General information. This is a large diameter intake. 2.5 inch discharge. Large diameter discharge. 2.5 inch auxiliary inlet, and just beneath that is the auxiliary inlet drain. Once again, image here of the large diameter discharge. Down at the very bottom there are 4 drains. I'd like to point out a few things here in this location. There is a cover valve here and also a cover here. These are 2 access points. I'll talk about those in the next set of images. First, let's talk about your cab lift. This is a covered switch with an activate. Make sure things are secure within your cab prior to lifting. This is an override where the things I pointed out earlier, there are two of them located here, one in orange and one in green. You have electronic valves, therefore if there's a failure, these are the methods in which you can restore those valves to any position. Down in the very bottom, you have 4 drains across the bottom. They are also color-coded. Let's go ahead and look to the left. This is your auxiliary 2.5-inch inlet. To the right, large diameter bleeder. And at the very bottom of this bleeder of the housing is your relief valve. Once again, same as the opposite side on the cab. This is your tank indicator for water level, and also a side-facing floodlight on the passenger side. Let's go ahead and move to the front section with the cab doors. All access points have step lights located here. In addition, on each of the doors, there is reflective tape. Moving up from that location, you'll find on each of the doors there is information about your safety, four-wheeling seatbelts, entanglement, and various information here. In the center of your door latch, there is a locking mechanism to lock the door. Just up, you have rolling windows and also a pull latch. You can see the red danger or warning label here located on the seat regarding seatbelts. And let's talk a little bit about this yellow placard. This is from Pierce Manufacturing. It has your date of manufacture. It also has your job number on it, gross vehicle weight rating. It also has tire and wheel information. And at the very bottom or midsection here, it has your VIN number, which is also located on the A pillar on the driver's side. And at the very bottom, it has fluid capacities for the types and amounts of fluid for your entire apparatus. In the upper left-hand corner, you'll find the warning regarding diesel emissions. And just down at the very bottom, you'll find equipment damage. Please contact Hughes Fire or Pierce Manufacturing or consult your manual for anything in this area. Down at the foot treadle, this is going to be a mechanical siren. We're on the operator's side. You have a blank at the knee level here, left knee. Moving inside of that, you'll find your ABS diagnostic switch. Moving inside of that, your DPF region switch. To the right of that with the red indicator, this is your engine diagnostic. And then moving to the very far right is your engine regen inhibit switch. Moving up to the very top of this location, you'll find in the silver, this is your on-off master battery switch. It is a quarter turn either to the right or to the left. And then in the green port here, this is your engine, transmission, and ABS diagnostic port. Let's move up above that. You'll find on the left-hand side near the door, this is your ignition switch. And then up from that, you'll find your start switch. Moving over just to the small panel inside of this, you're going to find this small EM switch. This is the emergency master, which turns on all of your emergency lights. This is your running lights and driving lights, headlights. This is also a panel switch, which is a rocker up and down for brightening and lessening the dimness of your apparatus. Difficult to see here, but transmission on your left, oil pressure on your right, DEF level, which is your fuel level for DEF. Just inside of that is your water temperature. Moving inside from the water temperature to the 2 large gauges, you'll find your engine RPMs, tachometer, moving to the right, this is your speedometer. Moving in the very center, this is going to be your right-left turn indicators, check engine light, and bright light. Moving at the very top, this is going to be information regarding your apparatus engine and seatbelt and parking brake information. At the very bottom here, you're going to find additional information regarding miles, hours, and time of day. On the right, you're going to find your voltage meter. Moving down from that location, you can find front air pressure for the front axle and rear air pressure for your rear axle. Just inside of that, you'll find your diesel fuel, which is ultra low sulfur diesel. And this is the fuel gauge for that. Just down from that, the small round, this is the indicator to scroll through the menu system in the yellow or orange section in the center of your apparatus. Looks down at the right-hand side. This is your OK to engage the high idle if lit. And to the left of that is the increase or turn on your high idle switch, which will increase the idle. To the right-hand side, you have a flat and a convex mirror. Simply turn the dial for the right or left and make the adjustments by moving it around. Let's take a look at the center console. As we look at the center console, this in yellow is your system parking brake. To the right of that is your Allison transmission pad, and you'll see a note to the right that says pump in drive. We'll go ahead and cover some of the components here. At the very top here, you can see the man with the camera. That's your rear or reverse camera. On the left here is your stationary OK to pump while rolling. That's to the next section over, I should say, your water pump, foam system, a blank, off-road traction, and tire chains. Down to the next section down, you have engine on-off for the brake, your engine selection, low, medium, and high, your electric air horn or air horn, siren brake, mirror heat, and your load manager. Moving just to the right, this is going to be push for windshield wiper fluid and then wiper control turning right to left. In the center, you have your climate control, heat and defrost, heat in the red, and AC in blue. Let's go ahead and move now just over the operator's head. You'll find this in the upper left-hand corner. This is a placard regarding the height, length, and gross vehicle rating of your vehicle, and also it offers a job number. Starting overhead, this is your emergency master, the roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, and upper rear warning. These are all switches here. Moving to the right of that, you'll find your front flood, fixed front flood, your driver's side scene, passenger side scene, rear scene, and then your underbody perimeter lights. Moving to the right of this location in the same area, you're going to find your control for your PA system and electronic siren. This is a digital readout for your pump pressure. This is an important indicator. This light will illuminate and flash. Do not move when this light is on. It is indicating that you have a compartment ajar. Generalized view of your heating and air conditioning, or I should say your air conditioning above with the vents. This is going to be your center cowling just over the engine area for mounting of equipment. In the rear section, you have two center mounted SCBA seats. As we look at the left door, you'll find once again the warning labels and then this pull handle to help access yourself into the cab. Once again, there is lights at every entry point, and just under this light area, there's also ground lighting with your perimeter lights. Let's go ahead and move just inside the cab here. You can see you also have two rear-facing SCBA seats on the right and left. And just a quick note on seat belts, they are all red for easy visualization for all occupants. Overhead, you have push-on, push-off red and white lights. In the center between the two seats, you'll find this access panel so that you do not have to tilt your engine for checking daily for your oil and transmission. It's also illuminated compartment so that you can see. This is going to be your battery charger for shore power. On the right and left-hand side, you'll find additional plugs. There are two plugs on each side of this. They are just behind the passenger and driver seat. These are shore line power outlets. So when you're plugged into shore power, you will have power at these plugs. Looking back once again, two center mounted SCBA seats. Let's go ahead and start now in the passenger seat. You'll find once again information on safety belts. Moving to the center just in front, your vehicle is equipped with SRS, a supplemental restraint system airbags. Be cautious not to block that area. You also have reflective tape on each door. Looking to the right side in the door hinge area, this is the fill location for your windshield wipers. On the floorboard, you'll find a foot pedal that's for your mechanical siren. And as we move up onto the dash, you'll find an air horn button, and just beneath that, two barrel style 12-volt access points. Let's look overhead of the passenger seat. You'll find the Pierce information for seat belts, red indicating that someone is occupying the seat but not belted, green indicating that they are belted. Let's look now at the passenger section. Just under the passenger seat, there is additional storage here in this latched area. Congratulations, South Lane, Oregon, on your new apparatus. If you have any questions regarding the content of this video or information, please consult with your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and good luck with your new apparatus.